Hello, I'm Rachel from Douentza Garden in Ireland, and you're very welcome to this collab video on my top 5 houseplants. So today I'm going to tell you about my absolute favourite gorgeous houseplants, and Jeff from the channel Tropical Plants at 53 degrees north is also going to talk about his top 5. So let's get on with the video. Today's video is all about houseplants, and it's the first in a series of collab videos with fellow YouTubers, people who I admire for the quality of information that they put out on their channels and with whom I'm delighted to do a collab. And the whole series is on top 5s, today's being my top 5 houseplants. So we're going to hear about my top 5 houseplants, but also Jeff's. Jeff's channel is called Tropical Plants at 53 degrees north, and he's in the UK, and he grows houseplants, but he grows them in a greenhouse. Now, when we think of a greenhouse, you might think of mine, which is kept at very low temperatures in winter, 5 degrees, that's like 41 Fahrenheit. But Jeff keeps his temperatures higher, and his greenhouse has the right environment for growing houseplants, ones that you and I might grow indoors. So now, without further ado, let's get on with the countdown, and I'm going to tell you about my 5th favourite houseplant of all time, and it is right here behind me. I've chosen a hanging plant for this great accolade, and here we have it. And this is a Calumnia, which is just coming into flower now. It has thin trailing stems with deep green leaves and the most vibrant orange flowers that just sing of happiness and summer and all great things. This beauty is called Calumnia microphylla, and it comes from the cloud forests in Costa Rica. It's actually an epiphyte by nature, but I'm growing it here in a hanging basket, as many people do in their home environment, and it just sits very well in that kind of substrate as long as it's very well drained. Gorgeous flowers. Now, this specimen was given to me by a friend, Cam from Scotland, 7 years ago, and if you're watching, Cam, thank you very much. I absolutely love this plant. It flowers reliably every spring, just coming into flower now. So in a little while it's going to be a mass of these orange flowers that actually persist for a long time. So as some of them close, other ones open up, and you get a very good show for a long period of time. It's an easy plant to look after. This is a plant to grow in dappled light, but I've gotten away with growing it even in a north-facing window here in the house, and it seems to flower regardless, quite unfussy. It needs humidity of about 50%, and in terms of watering, it's in a well-drained mix, but you need to wait until it dries out before re-watering. That means sticking your finger in there to see. And in terms of temperatures, it takes 18 to 30 degrees centigrade. A lovely plant. So unfussy and a glorious sight when it comes into flower in spring. Now, logically, after hearing about my 5th favourite plant, you would expect to hear about the 4th. But no, what you're going to hear now is about Jeff's 4th and 3rd favourite plants. So stay tuned and follow the video through, and all will become clear.
Okay, so we are over here in Ireland for some reason. Not my usual place. I hope you enjoy this. This is a couple of my choices, and then at the end of the video you can head over to my channel and see the rest of my choices. So for now, this is my number 4 and number 3. So I'm going to choose for my number 4 cyclamen, Cyclamen persicum. So these are cyclamen, also known as houseplant cyclamen or florist cyclamen. These are the ones that you can't plant out in the garden if you live in a temperate climate. They will not take the frost. So I love these, especially because at this time of year, if you live in a temperate climate, in the winter, there's not much else going on, and these are reliable performers for you. So you can see here, I've got this beautiful coloured plant here. I've got another one here I'm going to lift up so you might be able to see it. Beautiful two-tone plant, and I think the leaves on their own would make it worthwhile growing. So what I do with these, I keep them over the summer, I let them go dormant, I look after them, and then I bring them back to life again in the winter time, and I get this beautiful range of colours, range of forms, and all the different marbled type leaves. They're only cheap, which is also something that's worth thinking about when you're buying these things, but you can of course keep them year after year and let those tubers get bigger and bigger so you get a bigger plant. This cyclamen, absolutely gorgeous thing, and I wouldn't be without them. So for my third choice, I've chose the wonderfully mysterious and prehistoric looking carnivorous houseplant Nepenthes. You don't very often see them as a houseplant. These are actually vining plants, and they make great houseplants, providing you can give them tons of light. They really are light addicts, and if yours doesn't picture, it's likely to be because it's not getting enough light. But if you can give them enough light, not direct sunlight through glass, but lots of bright light, maybe even a grow light or two, then you're going to be rewarded with these fantastic, real amazing things here that I'm yet to come across anybody who isn't fascinated by these wonderful structures. I go into great detail on other videos about what actually constitutes one of these pictures and what they actually do, but if you just want to grow it as a house plant, it really isn't that difficult. Providing you can give it some nice clean water, distilled water for example, or RO water, then it really isn't that difficult to grow, and you can get the hybrids that'll go right from really low temperatures, some of them even go down to 5 degrees, right up to a normal room temperature. It's up to you whether you go for the lowland or the highland Nepenthes, and there really are a lovely range of varieties with different colours, different shapes, different forms, a real good houseplant, and I wouldn't be without mine. So I've really enjoyed my little trip to Ireland, and that's 2 of my top 5 houseplants. I better head back across the water for the rest of my other video. I'll see you over there.
So welcome back from Jeff's channel, and I am now going to talk about my second favourite houseplant of all time, and it is this gorgeous plant that you see just behind me here, and this is a South African bulb, or several bulbs in this case because they grow bigger over time. It's a plant I've grown for a long time, for 9 years. I've grown it in the house and I've grown it in the greenhouse. Now, when I say in the greenhouse, I'm not talking about Jeff's perfect conditioned greenhouse. I'm talking about a much rougher environment where temperatures go down as low as 5 degrees centigrade, which is 41 Fahrenheit. So the house or the greenhouse. And what I love about this plant is its beautiful wavy leaves. Look at those. They are just gorgeous and look so special before it ever flowers. But when it does flower, which it does reliably in spring, so round about now, February, March, it sends up these tall pink spires, which don't need staking, and then it produces pink flowers at the top, which are not open yet. I'm sorry, I can't actually show you these flowers open at the moment, but they will come, and they're amazing when they come. They have green tips and they're pink and they're gorgeous, and there are yellow varieties too. So there is not more I can say about this plant except that I recommend it very highly. Now, because it's from South Africa, it's one that you're going to grow in full sun. So if it's in the house, south-facing window. And humidity isn't an issue because we're talking kind of like a very arid loving plant. In terms of watering, make sure that it dries out completely between watering. And when the bulbs are dormant, don't water at all. So this is an almost evergreen plant. It does go dormant in summer, but very briefly. It's no sooner had its leaves die down when they're waking up again. So really, it's almost evergreen. Don't water it when it's dormant and you'll be grand. And then finally, temperature. Well, you know, it tolerates normal house temperatures, and I have grown it and nowadays tend to grow it in the greenhouse that dips to 5 degrees or 41 Fahrenheit in winter, and it does just grand. So Gorgeous plant, can't say enough good things about it. Do try it if you get the chance. Okay, and finally, my favorite. Where is it? Oh, it's hiding. Ta-da! This is my favorite plant. Now, okay, it's just going dormant, so the leaves are a little bit floppy, but normally what you have with this amazing South African bulb called Bouffon de Sticka is you have this fan of wavy leaves that are there for the longest time, all through the winter in my case. It should, if it's mature enough, send up a ball of flower, an amazing giant ball of flower that just kind of seems to sit on the earth. A wonderful plant that's also known as the sore eye plant, and that's because it's actually supposedly poisonous. I don't say supposedly. If it's poisonous, it's poisonous. But it's supposed to make your eyes sore when in flower. I haven't experienced it, but what an interesting, wonderful plant. Another interesting thing about it is the bulb. So the bulb sits proud of the soil, and you can see that it's covered in a mass of scales that sit very loosely around the bulb. Now, this isn't a tulip bulb. We all know tulip bulbs, they're smooth, and if they have some scaly bits on the outside, they fall off easily. But this is one that just has masses and masses of soft scales that you shouldn't peel off. It's a feature. We love it. We love everything about this amazing, wonderful desert plant that you can grow in a home or in a greenhouse if you can manage to get your hands on it. It is a bit rare, but it's definitely one to look out for. Now, because of where it comes from, it's one that needs full sun. So if you're growing it in the house, grow it on a south-facing window. Humidity isn't an issue because, yeah, it doesn't really need that. In terms of watering, make sure that it dries out completely before you water it again. And when the bulb is dormant, which happens depending on where your individual Bouffon de Sticka comes from, can happen in summer or it can happen in winter. But when it's dormant, don't water. That's a general rule anyway. Temperature, yeah, can deal with the normal temperatures in a home environment, but can also deal with a greenhouse. And again, my rough, tough greenhouse where temperatures drop to 5 degrees centigrade or 41 Fahrenheit in winter, and this boy comes up smiling. So this is a plant I really highly recommend if you can get your hands on it and if you can provide it with the full sun that it needs to do well and to go on. And you see how the leaves are falling out now, it's dying down, and fingers crossed that what's going to happen next is it's going to send up a flower spike, which will be absolutely amazing. So for these reasons, this is my absolute favourite houseplant. And with that, we come to the end of this collab video on my top 5 houseplants. A collab with Jeff from the channel Tropical Plants at 53 Degrees North. Thank you so much, Jeff, for taking part. I absolutely highly recommend Jeff's channel. So you've watched this video. Afterwards, please click on the link, go over, check out Jeff's channel, check out when you're over there, my 3rd and 4th favourite houseplant, and also Jeff's, let me see, what was it? Jeff's other 2 favourite houseplants. The numbers are going out of my head now at the moment because you know what, this channel and Jeff's channel too, they're not about numbers, they're about plants, and they're about loving these wonderful plants and growing them as best we can and giving inspiration to anyone who happens to come along. So do check out Jeff's channel. Very knowledgeable person that you're going to learn a lot from. Thank you as always for watching. And if you've come from Jeff's channel here, hello, welcome. I hope you'll stay. I will see you on the next video, the next collab, which should be coming up very soon. Thanks for watching as always. Bye.